Hey, it's David here from Freedom Founders. Got a great question this week from a subscriber who said, David, what do you really mean by alternative investments? I'm really not sure I understand exactly what that's about. That's a great question. Sometimes we use vernacular that we all become accustomed to. I mean, people do it in their businesses and their professional practices, and we have to remember that we get used to certain language, certain terms, certain vocabulary, and it's not always correct for us to assume that everybody knows what we're talking about. So I appreciate the question. Alternative investments. The alternative to what most people think as traditional investments, that being Wall Street financial products. I say products. Now, you can buy individual stocks, obviously. There's mutual funds. You can buy bonds, which are debt instruments. And then there's the whole life insurance constructs, which are annuities, universal life. So there's a lot of financial products. When I say alternative investments, I'm talking about the alternative to all of that stuff, however you want to lump it together and group it. Alternative investments would be investments in certainly direct investments in businesses. Now, I don't mean just buying the stocks or mutual funds of a bunch of businesses. I mean actually directly investing in a business. That could be your business. Your business, your practice can be an alternative investment if you really look at it from a business standpoint. Unfortunately, most small business owners, professional practice owners, are the doers, the makers, the shakers in the business, and it's really a job. But it can be a business, and a lot of DSOs and corporate owners have made dentistry a business. Like it or not, it can be. The other alternative investment that I really, really like is real estate. Why real estate? Well, for me, it's a whole lot easier than running a business. Now, I do both. I ran a business. I had a professional practice for many, many years. I totally understand that type of business. I learned eventually over the years how to turn that practice into a real business that was not dependent upon me. So I've run it both ways, as both the owner operator, where I was doing all the treatment, all the service, or primarily being responsible for most of it, and then turning it into a real business where I had associates and hygienists doing the work, and I was the owner. So I've been both sides of that, and that can be fun. But what you know is that running a business, whether you're in the business or you're on the outside as the equity owner in the business, you still got to manage what? People. Business is all about people. Real estate is about people as well, typically tenants. And so there is a management component to real estate. Don't get me wrong, but it's nothing like running a business. Again, I don't have a problem if you're good at one or the other. Pick one, but those are alternative investments. So pick either one: a real business, your practice or other businesses, or real estate, and that's a really strong place to be. Now, what's the problem with that? Well, it's not easy. You can't just click a mouse. You can't just call up a financial manager, a financial advisor, and say, hey, give me asset allocations and just take all my hard-earned money. Here, I'll stick it in a 401k, and here, you go and manage it for me. And they'll do the best they can, but they know with the volatility of the marketplace, they can't really give you any certainty. It's just like, for one period of years, your investment is up, and then you turn around, and the next year it's dropped back down by 40 or 50%. That's the volatility of that marketplace. Nobody can really do anything about it. I will say one thing is that Bernie Madoff, that fraudster who ran that Ponzi scheme for many, many years and took a lot of people's money, he even said, there's no place for the retail investor on Wall Street in the financial markets. Warren Buffett, a lot of people quote Warren Buffett and say, well, Warren Buffett always says buy index funds, buy the market, buy index funds. Well, Warren Buffett doesn't do that. He doesn't buy index funds. Warren Buffett is an actual investor. When he invests his money, he invests in actual companies. What I was talking about as an alternative investment. He doesn't buy index funds. Now, why does he say the average person should buy index funds? Because he's talking about the average person. If people don't do anything, then something's better than nothing, and that's what he's saying is if people aren't going to do the work to understand how to invest their money, they're going to abdicate it to other people. Look, you might as well just buy index funds because you're going to be better off. So understand the framework of, sometimes you hear advice about, well, just buy and hold or put your money on Wall Street because that's the way everybody does it. Well, you don't want to be everybody, do you? So alternative investments are by far, bar none, the best investment. You just got to do some work. You've got to create access points. You've got to learn how to invest through other people, and that's what I do. That's what we do in Freedom Founders, investing through other people. So you've got two pieces of due diligence to learn how to do. You have to learn how to do the due diligence or the vetting or the underwriting of the actual person you're going to invest through, because I don't believe in doing all the heavy lifting myself. I'm not going to go buy houses and fix and flip. I'm not going to deal with contractors and manage tenants, but there's people that are really good at doing that. Whether you're doing it on a small scale, being single family residential, which is a great place to get started, buying equities or lending money, or you want to get into more commercial properties and pool money in syndications, or put money in funds that are backed by hard assets being real estate, with operators that know what they're doing and they have access to the wholesale marketplace like nobody else. It's an inefficient market, real estate is. Alternative investments is an inefficient market, business and real estate. That's where you want to be if you really want to get your money working for you. Or you can just play the lazy man's game and follow the majority and put it on Wall Street and just keep your fingers crossed and hope and hope and hope. But hope doesn't usually work out to be a good strategy. In fact, why are so many of our professional practice colleagues now retiring later and later in life? The ADA, American Dental Association, just recently put out statistics that said we went from 62 years average age retirement just half a dozen years ago to a couple years ago, it was 68.9 years, a big stretch from 62 to 68.9, and now we've broken the 70-year mark. We're at 70 and a half years now, average age retirement. That means some people are retiring much, much later than 70 and a half. Some are retiring less than that, maybe in their late 60s. But again, in that block, do you really want to be doing the back-breaking, emotionally tough work that you have done for, whether it's 10, 15, 20, 30 years now? Do you want to do that for another 15 years or more? I don't think so. In fact, many bodies won't take it. That's not what you were built to do. You need to learn how to leverage yourself, what you do, trading time for dollars, the skill set, the license degrees that you have, and start transitioning that into alternative investments, whether it's in your practice or practices or businesses, or my favorite, real estate. But you got to learn how to do it. It's not hard if you follow people that have already been down that path, or you can be lazy and just put it on Wall Street. It's your choice. So, great question. What are alternative investments? I hope I've given you a little bit more of an explanation of what that is and why you should consider it when you're looking at your freedom blueprint. Remember, always stay focused on your freedom. I'll see you next time.